Hey guys, Nero back here with an update to my 329 guide for the Mercenary Linkbot. I've changed a few things in the PoB, and I've added a new leveling section because I'm going to be swapping my leveling plan to Righteous Fire from Thunder. So I want to go over that. I've added a lot of detailed leveling stuff to the PoB now as well. And I've changed a few things in the mid game that I want to go over. And also at the end then do a little bit of talking about my planned Atlas progression, since yesterday the new Atlas trees got released. So I just want to go quickly over how I'm going to approach that and what I'm going to be doing for mercenaries in maps then. First up, I want to mention that I have been streaming yesterday and I will probably stream tomorrow as well, and also the league start. So if you want to tune in to me experimenting around with the mercs and doing my normal leveling and Atlas progression, so feel free to tune in either here on YouTube or on Twitch. I will link it down below, so feel free to follow. First up about the leveling stuff. So now when you open up the new Orbot PoB, on the top right in the loadouts, you will see a few new loadouts. So I've added sections for 1 to 12, 12 to a Lyra, and then swapping to RF when you get a Lyra and when you are level 20. This will be roughly after Weaver. And then leveling towards the normal lab, picking up just some more life and a little bit of damage still. And then towards crew lab, pathing upwards for the link mastery. Because after normal lab, of course, we will get our mercenary, and getting the +2 link skills up here is a lot of damage early on together with the exposure node. Picking up a little bit more fire damage here and the fire mastery for some support and still for some RF damage increase. And then also the aura nodes here, which should allow us to then run a few auras, so either haste, pure the elephants, Kitterbots, and then vitality, and maybe a small precision. So if your merc has haste, basically you don't need haste. Otherwise, you can you can run haste if you want to be a little bit faster. Safe option is just purity of elements, but you have to decide that then during playing. And then just pathing downwards, picking up life, more regen for RF, and some max stress as well for RF. And then towards the new map start, so I've repathed the map start a little bit, picking up more light radius early. So we have the light radius here from Light of Divinity 10%. We have the light radius from the Energy Shield Mastery here 30%. And we still have the link effect and the +2 links. Should give us way more damage from the link during early game, since we're probably not going to have the Nyctas during map start, since the build has gotten quite popular. So I've added also a Nyctas replacement wand here. Basically would just be +1 fire and light radius. If you can only choose one mode, then only get the light radius mode. Everything else basically doesn't matter. Just the 15 light radius is completely fine to start on maps with. And I've changed one of the rings in the ultra early setup away from a Loris to a Void Eye. And the Void Eye then will hold our Flame Link. So just with a level 17 Flame Link at the start of maps, we will be at level 25, which should give us a lot of flat damage that we are scaling then with the light radius. Should be good enough damage for early mapping. Then after this point, I've added a new early mid-game tree as well. I've had like the jump from the map start towards a level 95 tree with some good gear already was a bit big. So I've added a new early mid-game tree, which directly builds upon this map start tree. So there's no points needed to switch to this. Basically, we're just expanding and investing a little bit into armor. Because we don't have any avoidance, I'm not running block and I don't want to run block. So I'm adding Soul of Steel here for more armor. I'm picking up combat stamina for more armor and then just filling out some of the life nodes that are missing. Gives us here 21k armor with a decent chest. So this should be before you get the Chaos Heart. Just getting a decent armor chest should go a long way with physical damage reduction in the early game. And for elemental damage, we have our high life pool anyways. From the skills itself, the rest stayed pretty much the same in the setups. This is just some very small adjustments that I made for the leveling and for the early progression. Then there is one interaction with Soul First and the Cincture of Benevolence then that I want to talk about. A few people have pointed out that the flasks still are resetting the Solita stacks. I'm not 100% sure if it's correct for the Mercenary as well. Some people have been testing with other players and apparently it's resetting there. One thing you can do, or if that's actually the case then, one thing that we should do is in the mid game or in the early game, as soon as you have the double belt combo online with your mercenary, you should be running an increased duration bismuth flask. So we had a 1 flask slot open anyways because we were running the gold flask. I just swapped this now for the bismuth flask with increased duration. Gives us a very long duration flask. And with how Soul First works is that the Soul Eater, even if it would reset, would only reset on this flask use. So if we enchant this one with reused at the end of the flask effect, should get us 14 seconds of Soul Eater without resetting anything, and then immediately trigger the 14 seconds again. And because Bismuth is such a low charge flask to use, you can use twice in a row without even getting any charges. And normally during mapping or even during bossing, you should be able to get more flask charges than 15 every 15 seconds. So this should still give you permanent uptime. During maps, you only need to press this flask basically once at the start of each map to make the Soul First interaction a bit more consistent. Alright, then let's go over what's my current plan for my Atlas tree progression. We have here the new tree already on PoE Planner 329. Goal for my Atlas progression will be to get all of the mercenary loads rather early, so we can make sure that we always have 1 temporary mercenary and 1 permanent mercenary going, of course. And I'm gonna be trying to target farm the many-shot mercenary during Atlas progression, since when I will explain it when we get to that, it is the easiest merc to target farm, and it's the strongest merc for clearing and a decent single target. So I'm gonna be starting with picking up some betrayal for XP, and then just pathing immediately to the new mercenary chance wheel. This wheel alone gives us 6%, and we have the 8% baseline anyways from every Atlas mechanic. So this should be 2 mercenaries every 3 maps. After this, gonna just pick up some map nodes, gonna portal over, pick up the other map nodes, and then I'm gonna already go towards the targeting of the mercenaries. So here we can target specific attributes of the mercenaries. However, since our kinetic blast mercenary has all 3 attributes, he's not targetable by any of these 3 nodes. Maybe it would be good if we spec all 3. We can try that later on. But for now, my plan is to spec have less chance for strength and intelligence, and I'm going for dexterity mercenaries. And down here, I'm gonna be picking up the Sayaxan Supremacy, which grants increased chances for witches and rangers, which the many shot is. So this is the ice shot guy. And I'm gonna be looking for an ice shot guy with Vala ice shot with some good supports, of course. And once we have that, I'm gonna be pathing up here to get to the last mercenary wheel, which gives 40% chance for an additional support, which is also very strong, of course. Support gems are damage. Then you can pick up the rest here because for some more uniques. And then after that, it's basically free for all, whatever you want. Personally, I'm probably gonna end up doing like picking up shrine stuff to get a bit more player power early on, and then pick up the rest of the map progression nodes. And after that, gonna be going into all of the betrayal nodes, I think, for more XP. Betrayal is just for XP. So this would be like an 88 tree. Go up here, pick up some more shrines and some more unique chance for the mercenaries. You don't need the last node. If that's good, maybe I'll pick it up. But this would be roughly, I would say it's like 100 points roughly. This is what my first Atlas tree will look like. So yeah, mercenaries into personal buffs, into all of the map nodes, into shrine effect. And then you can pick up like destructive play or something towards the end of Atlas progression to get up all of your invites going, or spec towards like red altars for early farming. Yeah, that's my initial Atlas plan. After that, I'm probably going to be testing out some early Ultimatum or early Blight. I think could both be strong. I think for Ultimatum especially, it should be like a semi-AFKable as soon as we are tanky enough. So we're gonna have to just see how tanky we are. But yeah, as basically you can do anything since the build is a pretty decent all-rounder. Just depends on how strong you are and how good your merc is. I think that's everything I have for you for this guide update. If you still have any questions, just feel free to leave a comment down below on the video and I will try to answer it, of course. And if you have any more stuff you want to ask me live, I will be live on Twitch on League Start, and you feel free to ask me there a few hours before League Start. I hope you guys have a great League Start as well, and See you on Friday.